I'm here today with Rhonda Gwin, who's the education manager at Sawgrass, and we actually have a few questions for you if that's okay.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, so the first and biggest question about VersaFlex is, what is the expander? Like, what is that? Everybody, you see it in the cartridge lineup. Expander, what is that?
Yeah, so it's not an ink. I did love your live the other day, and you got that correct. It's not an ink, but it is a liquid that's going to go down only when you are using the VersaFlex light paper. So if you're using your regular sublimation paper and doing regular sublimation, the expander's not getting used at all.
Okay.
You're just using the CMY. But what that expander does is it's going to help with the self-weeding. It's going to go down with the ink to make sure that it bonds with the fabric, the wood, whatever you're doing. And so it's really a part of the process to make sure that it is bonding correctly and working correctly. So you do need that expander for those, but it's not an ink, and you're not going to use it when you're doing your traditional sublimation. Now, when you are doing that, it is using just the CMY, but don't worry about that. I know a lot of people have a concern.
I was about to ask, yeah.
I know, right? You are getting a black. It's a composite black, but that's what you were getting with SubliJet UHD anyway. So it's always been a composite black. We do have those profiles worked out in the print utility so that you are getting a solid, really consistent black, even without that black cartridge. I know it's kind of just counted as part of the Sawgrass magic.
The Sawgrass magic, I like it. Yeah, and it's funny, people who may not understand like color theory and how it works, if you see a missing black card, you're like, wait, no black? But yeah.
Exactly. No, you're going to be just fine. We worked on those profiles to make sure that you're still getting a good solid black. And even with the sublimation, you're not going to see a ton of difference between what you're getting with the SubliJet UHD and with that VersaFlex ink, even with that black cartridge missing.
Nice. And then users can also kind of fine tune the output, like saturations and contrast and everything in print utility, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that color management tab, custom, is a great way to do that, to go in, play with that saturation, play with that brightness. Those things can help if you're still not finding it to be exactly what you would want it to be.
Let's say somebody already has like a Sawgrass SG500, but they already have it with SubliJet ink. Can they swap out the inks, add VersaFlex into an old printer?
Unfortunately, you cannot.
Okay.
So the ink systems are so very different. Now, you've heard it from us always. We do not recommend changing between one ink set and another.
Right.
You can with the others if you absolutely have to, but we don't recommend it. It's not good for the head of the printer to have all that ink flush through and to have those changes made. The other reason that it doesn't work is it's virtually impossible to get everything out. So especially when you're doing a change as big as going from SubliJet to the VersaFlex ink, because the expander in the black.
Because the expander's clear.
Exactly. And you're never going to get a good 100% result with cleaning that line out, unfortunately. Now, on top of that, the formula is very different. The cartridges are different as well. And so is the firmware. So everything's changed a little bit, and it is impossible to put that expander in that black channel. It's never going to recognize it. It's never going to work.
Got it.
Really not worth the try.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to know you guys heard it from the source. All right.
Yeah. Never mind being the source on something like that.
We've had a few customers concerned, like, hey, there's no black, there's no white. So what colors can it print, and then what colors can I print on?
Right, exactly. So I know a lot of people are worried about that. We've already said it. With the black, it is a composite black. You're going to get a solid black. You really can print any color. So any of your colors will work as far as printing. Now, as far as what you can press onto, we don't have a white. So there's no base underneath, say, if you wanted to go onto a black shirt or a navy shirt. So blacks, navies, maroons, burgundies, any of those really dark colors are out. I've gone about as far as an emerald green.
Oh, okay.
Or a heather green.
Okay. So, that's pretty good color there.
It is. Yeah. And so the big thing to remember is that because you are going on to a darker color, you probably want to go with a darker color. So these are designs that are blacks and navies, your hunter greens. You're probably not going to want to go with a light color. That's not going to show up very well. But if you're doing something that's darker on a darker color, and what I'm saying is, I think really we can expand what I've always said, because I always say lights, brights, and whites.
Yeah.
I think we can almost go to mid-range. I think you can go to those mid-range colors. Still can't go dark, but those mid-range colors are now within reason, depending on the design.
Right. And that's another thing that I think, me as someone who makes shirts, is you got to consider your final product, not only just for colors, but in some other cases, like let's just say direct to film coverage, because those are thicker media. But because VersaFlex light is so light, you don't really have to consider coverage so much, because it's all going to be really thin, but you just consider color now.
Exactly.
It's just a different consideration.
Yeah, it is a different consideration. Just be careful what your design is, but we are able to open up that range a little bit with colors, which I know I'm really excited about.
Yeah. Now, there's something that VersaFlex is doing that like nobody else is doing. It's incredible uncoated hard surfaces. That, to me, it's kind of mind-blowing that you're able to do all that. What products have you found work best? Is there anything that kind of doesn't work so well?
Yeah. So as far as what doesn't work, you said it in the title, uncoated. So what we don't realize is a lot of the wood that you see does have some sort of glaze or some sort of coating on it. Those don't work. What I have found is those thinner, I'm going to call it plywood. I know it's not, but that's how I think of it. Those thinner woods that you get at maybe a dollar store or even a craft store, those work great. It is working better with softwoods over hardwoods, because it all comes down to how porous it is. And those do take the ink a little bit better. So anything in that kind of softwood range, you also want to check to make sure that it's not warped. Because if it's not flat, it's not going to work. You'll have areas that don't get the ink, and then you're like, oh, my wood was warped.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing. Same things with the stones, with any of the ceramics, needs to be porous. And then, so it's a little bit rough. The ink's going to bond to it. And then also just make sure that it's something that doesn't have any kind of glaze on it at all.
Gotcha. So we have wood, stones. What other materials have you guys tested that it like works cool on?
Yeah, so our new one that we're kind of starting to peek into is some of the paper products.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
very cool. Very cool.
It's kind of the next thing you're going to see from us, I believe, is we've had some pretty good luck with that. And one of the reasons, and people do sublimate. You've probably seen the gag gift, the toilet paper at Christmas time. So what works here is a lot of the papers are not polyester, so this does work better. And then also because you can reduce the time and still get a great result, stay in that 30-second range, you don't have to worry about it getting too hot.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
I know, right? That's kind of a sneak peek, something we're looking at, and we'll be seeing it on our website if we test it and it works great.
Let me know. I can't wait to make the video on it. Like I'm
right?
excited. I'm ready.
Yeah, it's so fun. Have you gone to a craft store yet and just picked up random stuff?
Yes. Yes. So in part of our VersaFlex testing, you sent us some blanks, which we tried.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, let's see.
Yeah.
So we went over to the craft store, and then we picked up a bunch of different stuff. Picked up like this frame that was for like painting, which you see the, well, I see kids doing it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, we'll take one of those. The little plywood, like the little cutout pieces.
Yeah.
Take some of those and a few random different items, and they worked great. I was so excited because I want to say it was the frame. It was a picture frame, uncoated. And I know we have Sublimation, Sawgrass, obviously Sublimation, but this one was like $3 uncoated, and I got it first try.
Yeah.
Which made me really excited to get anything first try. So yeah.
I know, right?
It was really cool. Yeah.
It's so cool, and you're like, I got this for $1. And I just did it, and it worked perfectly. It's so amazing.
Yeah, and then the wheels just start turning. In my head, I'm like, oh, now we can do this. Now we can offer that. Now our customers can do this, offer to their customers.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
You are going to see a lot of VersaFlex wood ornaments this Christmas.
Yes.
That's going to be the trend.
There we go. Now with VersaFlex, obviously, automatically in print utility, when people update their print utility or download it for the first time, but there's a new button on there. Can you tell me about what it does? Because for me, I just leave it on because I don't know 100% what it does. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's kind of funny. So it is the button that you use for light colors with VersaFlex. And the reason is to help it lay down expander in those areas that are closer to white. So it may not recognize it as a color that needs expander. It may think it's white. And so that's why you're checking that button. And the funny thing is it originally was not the default to leave it on. And we switched it so that people would remember to leave it on. But the colors that I found are most sensitive are going to be pastel blues and pinks. Any pink. And we've actually seen it where it'll leave blank areas when you press because it just doesn't lay that down at all as far as the expander. So that's why we have that there. It helps with those lighter colors. If you're in doubt, leave it on. It's going to be the smartest way.
So then question, let's say if I was just doing like a text and a 1-color logo or 2-color logo, but it's all kind of just dark. It's like navy and red, right? Would I need to leave that on?
No.
Okay.
Turn it off, save the expander, don't lay it down where you don't need it, and you're going to be better off.
Okay. Awesome. Rhonda, seriously, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, for hosting us here at Sawgrass. It's been real exciting.
Yeah, it's so good to have you here. We're glad to have you here in Charleston, and hope you're enjoying your visit.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, we'll see you guys.